Thank you, thank you. Good morning. All the excitement in the room is always hard to get us settled down, but we want to stay on schedule this morning. So we have a lot to do and some great people on our panel. I'm Ron Harvey, the Vice President, Chief Operating Officer of Global Core Strategies and Consulting, Leadership Development Firm. Also serve and do a lot for the business community and serve on the executive community. So I'm honored to be here with you this morning. How y'all feeling? Awesome, awesome. My role this morning is really to do the invocation. And as I do the invocation, I think everybody in this room has something to be thankful for. Like, regardless of your background, your religion, your denomination, your business, your ethnic background, regardless of anything else, I think all of us with the season happening with hurricanes and floods and all of us going through so much right now have a lot to be thankful for. And I'm happy that we get to, as a business community, get to at least say a prayer before we start stuff. And that's for all of us just to appreciate where we are. So I don't want to take you to church, but I will tell you I'm a faithful guy. And I say that because I'm happy to be, I think I shared this with Susan, I'll share it with you. I'm just blessed to be standing in front of you this morning. About 2.5 weeks ago, I had a horrible car accident. Knocked off the road, vehicle totaled out. And when they arrived, they didn't think I would be alive when they showed up. And so to be standing in front of you today is a blessing. And 4 days after that, a best man at my wedding went through the exact same thing and he didn't survive. So I'm very, very blessed and emotional about the fact that it could have gone a different way. So regardless of how successful you are, what you're going through, I just want us to spend 2 minutes. Let me say a prayer for us, get us started, because life happens in 1 second. And sometimes we take it for granted that we're here. And there are a lot of people that's not true for. So if you can just join me in a prayer, and then we're going to get into what we really came here to do this morning. Lord, we thank you, first of all, for just waking us up this morning and let us come out into this business community. That we are grateful for everything that you do, the businesses and the decisions, and our politicians and our leaders and our business owners, and our community come together as a whole. That we learn to collaborate and connect and take care of each other and look out for each other. That you allow us to make great decisions, that you allow this event that the Chamber continues to put on every month continue to be a phenomenal event to make a difference for Columbia, the Midlands. It's important for us to work together, regardless of where we come from. We ask that you watch over all those that are in Florida or in the path of the new hurricane that's out there. We ask that you watch all those that are still trying to recover from the hurricane that just left Helena, that we come together and take care of them and we provide resources and we continue to stay there until they're back on their feet and recovered because they make a difference in our community. We ask that you continue to let all of us get along with each other, regardless of all the differences that we have, that we figure it out to work better together with each other, respect each other, collaborate, and take care of each other. It's dependent on our kids that are watching to make this place a better place than we found it and a better place for them to inherit. So we thank you for the Chamber. We thank you for all our leaders here. We thank you for our panel. And we thank you for everyone that's sitting at the different tables here to really make this a better place for all of us. So, Father, we thank you for this, and we're grateful for everything that you do. We love you. Amen.
Thank you, Ron. I know you said that wasn't your goal, but I feel like I've been to church already this morning. My name's David Looper. I'm the chair of the Public Policy Committee for the Chamber this year. And we're thrilled, like Ron said, to have y'all at this forum today, a little question and answer session. Before we kick off with our speakers, though, we've got a quick sponsor message from Kate Mayer from MUSC.
Good morning, friends. Thank you so much for having me. I see a lot of familiar faces from my past lives in our community, but I recently joined MUSC here in the Midlands, leading strategic engagement and external affairs. So really your one-stop shop for reaching anybody in our local office or down in Enterprise in Charleston. Would love to get to speak to each and every one of you about how we're increasing access to care in our community. There's a lot of great stuff from the history of Providence that we've been lucky to move into their space, but bringing a lot of innovation from MUSC too, and just really look forward to being a part of this group and getting to know each and every one of you.
Thank you, Kate. Um, so, as you may have heard, coming up November 5th, we've got a big election across the country. And here in Richland County, we've got some specific items that are going to be on the ballots, namely the penny tax that we're here to talk about today. And so we've pulled together this incredible panel of the experts on what's coming. And rather than me introducing y'all, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourselves, y'all's relationship to the penny, to the county, and we'll kick off from there.
Okay. Hello. Oh, okay. My name is Creston Brown, and I'm a citizen volunteer on the TPAC committee. I'm born and raised in Columbia, and I'm an attorney that practices at Belser Law Firm, and I appreciate being on this panel. I'm probably the least important person, so I'm glad to be with Jesica and Maurice to talk about the penny today. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Jesica Mackey, Chair of Richland County Council, and I am actually finishing up my first term in office. So I was elected in the last election, presidential election in 2020. And happy to be here. Creston is one of the most important people on this panel because he has served on the TPAC, which is our citizen advisory group. This council has relied on citizen input in not just the transportation penny, but many of the decisions that we made. So do not minimize your efforts. We appreciate them, Creston. Thank you for having me this morning.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Glad morning and excited to be here. My name is Maurice Pearl, the Executive Director for the COMET. I've been in Columbia now for almost a year. Next month will be a year. Started out in public transportation in Indiana and then had the opportunity to go to Texas. So I was in Texas for several years and then had the opportunity to come to South Carolina, which was one of my goals. So I'm excited to be here. It's a great community to be in and so much to do, and I'm just thankful to be here to serve the community.
Creston, can you kind of kick us off with the committee? What were the goals going in? We've had a penny in the past. What was y'all's focus as you kind of looked at the upcoming election or the upcoming vote?
Yeah, so, I was appointed and joined in April. And at that time, a big focus that we had was working on the principles and projects kind of guideline document that will serve in the implementation of the penny. And what was, I guess, kind of unique that we did, and I guess that, is advantageous to the business community is making sure that there are, principles and kind of an objective component about how projects are selected. So, when we started, Stantec had done an analysis of the various roadways that needed to be, worked on and scoring. And then we kind of worked on, not only looking at that, but also saying, okay, well, we have, if this penny gets us $4.5 billion, we have about $8 billion in needs over the next 25 years. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to have either in reality or the public think that there's somebody sitting in an ivory tower, picking different roads that he or she thinks needs to be done. And so we really worked on this scoring process that looks, that certain amount for, is this road work going to impact economic development? Is it going to work on blight in the community? Are we allowed to get, matching federal funds so we can do more with that penny? So really, kind of what I've been working on with TPAC, since I joined in April is, working on this kind of guiding document. And I will say, again, just being kind of a citizen volunteer, the comments and the red lines that I made in the documents actually made it into the final version. So it's not like, I went to this meeting, the members, we made these recommendations and they went into the shredder or the trash can or somebody's drawer. They actually made it into the final version. So that's kind of my, again, limited experience with joining in April.
Kind of one of the things you touched on was, there's certainly a road component of it. Maurice, a lot of people hear penny tax and they think, tax to repave roads. Can you talk a little bit about the interaction with the penny and the COMET program?
Sure. Since 2012, we have, the board and the staff have worked very aggressively to provide a lot of amenities and additional service to the community. And it's been very important in getting additional ridership and as an economic generator, getting folks to work. So it's been very important to the community, and the amenities they had in 2012, no shelters. Now we're up above 160 shelters, very few benches, and the passenger amenities are continuing to increase quite a bit, and we're still continuing to look at that to see what we can do, increasing the service throughout the community, making it flow a lot better, and getting everybody to work in a timely manner. And working since I've been here, working with the board and working with staff has been great. Everybody is very passionate about the work that they do, and in addition, working with the county council as well, and the TPAC, and just it's been a very good collaboration since I've been here.
Great. And Jessica, you've kind of got this overarching view of, what the committee's doing, what the COMET's got going on. What are the critical messages you want to convey, how this will affect everybody's day-to-day life and how their business operates?
That is such a big question, right? Because I think there is a lot with the current penny that we have right now that council considered and how to improve when we wanted to propose this next transportation penny. We are at a point in the Richland County, everyone sees it and we know we're growing. Even before the announcement of Scout Motors, we've seen the continual growth in Richland County, and it's only going to continue to grow. And knowing that, we wanted to make sure that we were preparing for transportation needs, making sure that the roads that folks needed, sidewalks, that they were there. And the solution that council came up with is to propose this transportation penny. But understanding that the one we have, looking at the one of 2012, how can we make it better? And that's really where TPAC came in. TPAC has been around and existed, but they weren't fully operational. We didn't have full engagement. All of our seats weren't filled. And that was one of the priorities early on, is to make sure we went out and had a representative from every municipality to be on TPAC, that it was full. Every seat was full, and with people who wanted to be engaged and committed. And so they were an early part of making sure they were engaged and involved, but then also working along with the COMET to hear their needs. The Richland County does not oversee the COMET. It is a separate entity, but it is one that we committed to as a needed service for constituents in Richland County. And we understand that currently the transportation penny funds a large part of their operations. And so we had to think about that moving forward, of if another penny is not here, how else could we fund this needed service and make sure that people can continue to get to work and move around our county with public transportation. So those were the big factors going in. In addition to that, we wanted to really address concerns we heard about the 2012 penny. Transparency was a really big concern. Folks didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was happening with projects or how they were completed, if they were completed. And so we launched richlandpenny.com, which is a repository for all transportation information. You can find a status update on every penny project, as well as projects that are complete, ribbon cuttings, the stages of projects, when they're scheduled to be complete. We also have the minutes from our TPAC and live recording videos as well for you to go and view past meetings. So that was a big undertaking that we wanted to do early on to get folks educated and aware. But then from there, also looking at, as Creston mentioned, principles and priorities. We wanted this go around to really think about, how do we identify the projects that are most needed and that are going to have the biggest impact in our community? Because the list is extensive, and it's going to be impossible to fund all of them, but how do we make sure that we're funding the projects that are going to really impact us in the community and provide the safety that many people need, as well as accessibility with sidewalks and bikeways. And so this principles document is not something that existed in the first penny. So there's a whole separate, I want to say maybe 10 to 12 page document that is on richlandpenny.com that outlines how county council will decide how to evaluate and rank projects as we move through the penny, if approved. And it will be something that is evaluated every year and will be visible for the public to see. And we all have agreed with citizen input, the COMET, and just local community members of how to create a process that is equitable but also transparent.
So, and you kind of touched on it. What were the lessons learned? You know, I know this is part of the process which y'all are implementing. What did y'all go in thinking? What are the lessons learned from the 2012 penny that, if passed, we can do better this time around?
Definitely the transparency piece. So the richlandpenny.com is a lesson learned, making sure we are communicating often and frequently, and it's easy for information for folks to find. But then also bringing the penny in-house. So now the penny is in-house, managed by Richland County transportation staff. We have regular updates with TPAC, but as well as County Council has a transportation advisory committee that gets regular updates, and we're paying attention on a monthly basis on what's going on with projects. In addition to that, talked about the principles and priorities document, that's new. And then public engagement. We started at the beginning of this year in January. We did over 20 meetings throughout Richland County, making sure we went out to communities across the county and had them say, what is it that you need? What are the issues transportation-wise, infrastructure? What are we missing in your community? And we got a holistic feedback. And then we continue those meetings and those dialogue through this year. We're currently right now hosting additional transportation town hall meetings throughout districts in Richland County to educate folks on the penny. When you came in, I believe there was a sheet at the front that has all of our upcoming town hall meetings. We have one coming up this Thursday at Hand Middle School. So if you know folks that aren't early morning people that couldn't make it here today, come Thursday at 6 p.m. at Hand Middle School, and Councilwoman Allison Terratio, as well as Council Member for City Council Will Brennan, will be there hosting a meeting to go over the transportation penny as well. And we'll have 5 more of those before November 5th.
I know all three of y'all have been involved in varying degrees to these kind of listening sessions and these forums. What are some of the reoccurring themes that you hear from the business community, the community at large? Pros, cons, their questions, their concerns. What are y'all hearing?
I guess for my individuals that I've talked with in the community, I think kind of like Jessica was talking about is individuals want to know that there's some analysis that goes into these projects. So again, I think kind of like Jessica said, from 2012 to now, that like transparency factor, and that's what we try to do at TPAC and working with the council is making sure that it's data driven. So before going to law school, I worked at several businesses, and it was all database, like how big is your pipeline, what are your sales, what are your margins, and that's kind of the same thing that at least what I've been involved with is that we've tried to do here is make sure that it's a data driven analysis so that people know that their penny is going to not only good use but efficient use.
I would say, I guess, it's understanding the difference. I think many people say, well, we have a penny, why are we getting another penny? And educating to say that the 2012 penny, when it was passed, at that time, voters approved for it to be 22 years or 1.07 billion collected, whichever came first. And so projections show that by the end of 2026, we will have collected the 1.07 billion. And so it's really great when you look at it in the sense of we're growing and we were able to collect it faster than anticipated. I mean, with 2012 and we're in 2024 and looking at 2026 reaching full collection, we were able to collect and bring in faster than we anticipated. However, that doesn't mean that if the penny right now passes, that we're going to have 2 cents. It's still going to be the same 1 cent. It would just mean that when the 2012 penny reaches full collection, then this new penny would begin. And that's been, I think, probably the biggest question I've had, are people don't understand that, oh, it's an additional penny. It's not an additional. It would be the same penny. And this proposed would be for 25 years or $4.5 billion, whichever comes first. And based on history, we project that it will happen sooner than the 25 years. But we've also seen with this current penny that 40% of the penny collected, the amount of money collected, has come from folks outside of Richland County. So it's been our visitors here, folks coming, for games and just traveling through Richland County. They have helped to contribute to our roads as well. So it's not all on Richland County, and I think we'll continue to see that as we grow.
Maurice, what you been hearing?
So a lot of what we've been hearing is increasing our service. We want more service throughout the community, and that's been one of our goals, is that we're looking at and working with the board of directors for the COMET, is what goals do we have? What can we do for the future to enhance public transportation in Richland County? And given that task, and came up with a couple of ideas of what we can do, brought that, worked with staff on that. Is this a good program? Can we do this? Is it going to be beneficial to the community? And we decided on several projects, took that to the board, and money's involved, so we had to scale that back some. And when we did that, we came up with some really good projects that the staff and the board decided on, and that is enhancing, for the future, is enhancing public transportation in Lower Richland. And currently, there is a 2-hour bus that goes through Lower Richland, and what we want to do is to look at a microtransit service, which a microtransit service is more of on-call service, Uber, Lyft style. And just because of how it's just not a dense community out there. So we want to be able to provide the transportation that's needed out in that community and help facilitate further travel for that community into Columbia, Forest Acres, Lexington County, where our service goes. The other part is looking at frequency. We've heard a lot about frequency. We want more frequency. So another goal that we're looking at for the future is to increase service frequency on our 01 routes. So we have 6 01 routes that go throughout the community. And right now, they are 30-minute service, so we want to be able to get that down to 15-minute service. And you hear it, you see it, more frequency, more service, and more ridership. So our goal is to build up our core first and foremost. We build up our core, we provide better service first, and then we can expand and build out from there. And that's the other goal, is to have more fluid transportation from Lower Richland to Columbia to Forest Acres to Lexington County as well, and even up to Blythewood and going up to Scout Motors. So there's a lot involved with that, a lot that we have to do preliminary in order to make that happen. And then I guess the biggest thing is understanding public transportation. What we hear often is, every time that darn bus drives by, I only see 2 people on there. And it's the frequency that the bus operates on. So if you think about it from this perspective, on Forest Drive, or even on 26 or 77, when you're driving, you've got 2-3 lanes of traffic. After Killian heading south, you've got 4 lanes of traffic. Throughout the day, those roads are built for the mass, right? So they're built for the biggest time that they're needed, and that's typically going to be from, say, 6:30 to 8:30, and then from 3:30 until 5:30, 6 o'clock. So our buses are the same. There could be that we have a lot of ridership on the bus, and then they're either a facility that they work at, or it's at the transfer center, so then the bus passes by and there's fewer people on there. So I would encourage everybody to ride a bus, and be more than happy to ride with anybody here, but just to see how the transportation works and see how much ridership we actually do. And we had nearly 2 million rides for this year, and as we look to the future, we want to increase that as well, and by providing frequency and additional transportation throughout the community, we can accomplish that.
Great. Well, kind of in the interest of making this a forum for the business community, I'd like to make it conversational. So if anybody's got a question, we certainly got more stuff to talk about up here if we need to, but would love to hear if anybody in the audience has a question for the panel.
Is this on now? Okay, I wanted, this is John Lumpkin, a local business person, and I came here to listen. I'd already learned something from each of you. In fact, Creston, you and I met when I came in, and I was not just heartened, David Looper, but the care and attention, the ladders on the right wall, you're doing your homework. Back in 2010, the council then put the penny on the ballot and failed. And at that time, there were a number of us in the chamber that said, wait a minute, we got a bus system that's limping along. We got roads that are in disrepair. We cannot recruit industry because we don't have roads going the way they need to go. And we got involved, and the chamber actually had a nonprofit, a dormant nonprofit back then. Carl and I were talking about it. And we used that nonprofit, and people wrote checks to the chamber. We raised $300,000 back in 2012, and we did an advocacy campaign. And I've got these little flyers, and you're welcome to have one. I've got a bunch in my pocket, but we passed the penny. At the time, the COMET wasn't the COMET; it was Regional Transit. It was limping along, maybe, and money wasn't coming from Washington, and it wasn't coming from the state. We had to control our destiny. And what they've said today is dead on in terms of what's happened now, positive. We get to 2026, Mark, and money runs out. What we've done as a business I've got this, they can educate, we can advocate. Level playing field, keep the penny, vote yes. We formed back in early August, Midlands Alliance for Better Transportation and Roads. Meet every Friday at 8 o'clock. The difference being is last time around we had 9 months to run for daylight, and we prevailed. This time we got about 75 days, so it's a little faster trot. But then there are three elements to this. I'm going to be brief here now, but there are three elements to this. It's a moral imperative. The COMET serves every college and university here. They get to work. They serve the VA. They serve Fort Jackson. They serve all the school districts here. That's how people get back and forth to work, not to mention to the doctor to buy groceries around our community. Number two, it's quality of life. This time around, for the first time, and I think there's the mayor back there, Daniel Rickman, and Will, you and Daniel, your council are collaborating almost in lockstep. This time, for the first time, there's going to be money available to fix neighborhood roads here in Columbia, because, is it 23% of the roads? 25, what percentage of the roads in Columbia are owned by Columbia? 28%, okay. The rest of them are owned by the state. You know what the state's doing, and they're doing what they got. Malfunction Junction, you see all the work going up to Greenville, you see all the work. That's where they're spending the money. And all those roads are in disrepair, but the state is not taking care of them. This money is going to allow our city to fix all this stuff that's been broken. And by the way, when we'll have the money here in the city, they'll be able to match that, or however you do that, Mayor, so that the DOT then will come to the table and bring some money in to do that. And then millions of dollars last time went to down on the river. Those trails now are getting extended 15 miles. That money is gone from the penny to build out those trails. They're going to go 27 miles up to the dam now, and guess what? The money from this, the extended penny, is going to do more green space and extend that. And the third, and this is right down the middle here for us in the chamber and the business community, is create jobs and economic development. Go down to Shop Road right now. Shop Road is going to get extended to Trotter Road. That's going to open up 3,000 acres of developable property in proximity with I-77. You don't think that's going to, and it's going to, like night falls day, the jobs and the industry that's going to come in there, and we've got to have the penny to put the roads in there to the businesses. So the other, when's the last time you rode down Green Street and go over the bridge? That was brought to us by the penny here in downtown Columbia, and now it's going to extend, Mayor. I'm turning back to you. $1 billion of private sector investment is going to happen. So it's an imperative for us from a moral, quality of life, and job creation and economic development to have this. Thank you so much, and I appreciate being able to say what I said, David.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got this brochure, and we're out there being as hard as we can raising that money. Thank you.
Y'all gonna have to take John on the listening tour with you.
Somebody get that on camera?
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Question. You talked about the roads and also the bus transit system. Does the public transportation, as it's deemed, and the penny cover anything other than roads and the buses? Any other modes of transportation? Or any exploration of?
So for the penny, what we're looking at for the future, what our goals are, is to increase the service area and provide better transportation to the community. We're also looking at what our current downtown facility looks like. We've outgrown that facility, so we need to look at getting a better facility, better suited for public transportation for the community, and that's another goal. The transportation is, we're just looking at what we can do to better enhance what we currently have and then expand out from there.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I'm Joan Hoffman with Children's Trust of South Carolina. I'm intrigued with your statement about microtransit. Can you describe that, how that would work, how that might function, as you talked about in Lower Richland?
Sure, that's a great question, and I appreciate you asking that. So most everybody here has probably gotten an Uber or a Lyft, and it's door-to-door service. So because of how sparse the community is out in Lower Richland, it doesn't fit into a business or a financial model for us to put a fixed route out there. So what we will do is we'll work with some consultants that have very good experience in going into communities and looking at the microtransit side of it. So it's door-to-door service. You can either call or utilize an app to get the service, come to your door, and take you where your destination is. We're also going to have fixed route service coming out of Columbia to whatever location that is determined. So that will help facilitate transportation back into Columbia. But to be able to have microtransit in that area, more than likely, just because of how expansive the area is, it'll be zoned off. So once we get that clear information in, and we'll be going out to the public, talking to the public about it, making sure that the public is informed of what we're doing and why we're doing it. But essentially, it's a Uber, Lyft style transportation for that community.
Some of the past, thank you. Would you mind sharing what you feel are some of the past successes of the 2012 program, both the immediate and past, whether road widening or economic development opportunities? Where have we come since 2012?
That's a good question. Oftentimes, I think we get so caught up that we don't really look back and talk about that. And one of the, I think, major successes is the jobs that have been created because of the penny. We've seen, over 20,000 new jobs created through construction or engineering and design, but then also by widening roads and creating new roads, we have businesses that have been able to pop up because of increased driver traffic. So that's been a huge economic development impact. And when I think about projects, the county is large, and depending on what side of town you live on, there's a different project that impacts you differently. I represent Northeast Columbia, and one of the major projects in my area is the widening of Clemson Road. So, I don't know, we have any Northeast people here today? Yay, good, Northeast. It's the drive, y'all. But out there in the Northeast, Clemson Road was only 2 lanes, and with the Penny Project, it was widened. We now have 4 lanes and sidewalks on both sides of the road. It has drastically decreased the amount of travel time for folks living in the Northeast to get onto the interstate and get to work. Same thing with coming home in the afternoon. We also now have the sidewalks, which makes it safer to walk along Clemson Road and to get to the Village of Sand Hills and go shopping and to get to other neighborhoods. And that's been a big thing in the Northeast. I think downtown, many folks have looked at the Green Street Bridge project as a huge project for the university in downtown Columbia and what that brings for connectivity in the area. And then when we look at, out in Lower Richland, the amount of dirt roads that have been paved out there and sidewalks, that tremendously has helped that community as well. And so I think throughout the county, we've completed over 500 transportation penny projects thus far. And the impact, whether it's a small dirt road we paving, still has a huge impact to those people who travel it every day.
And just to follow up on that, even though I'm kind of new to the penny and got involved in April, as part of the, I guess, data-driven analytics I was talking about earlier, kind of getting up to speed on the committee and being shown, how many miles of road and the paving has been quite astounding. So, again, before getting involved, I just paid the penny. That was my experience, paid it in the normal course of living. So, and I also will say a lot of this information is on that penny website. And again, when I joined the committee for the first time, I went on the website and started looking at all the various PowerPoints and data that, again, really kind of explain that.
All right, well, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, but, kind of as y'all touched on, from an analytical planning perspective, from a governance perspective, from an operations perspective of the penny, what is kind of the last message you'd like to leave with the business community this morning?
Well, I think that the best way somebody put the question about the penny is, imagine what Richland County would be like without the penny. and you think about if there is no penny, how is all this stuff going to get done? And I think when you kind of step back and you think about, you know, what we've done with $1 billion, what can we do with $4.5 billion? And then on top of the actual, you know, monetary number, just how efficient and kind of, you know, somewhat of a well-oiled machine the system is now. So, you know, I like to say, think about what it would be like without the penny, but also, you know, when thinking about what it would be like with the penny, there's going to be some very good impact. And again, me as a citizen volunteer, I've been very impressed with, you know, everybody I've met in this process over the last 5 or 6 months.
Well, before I give my last closing remarks, when I started, I forgot to do one very important thing, to acknowledge some of my elected official colleagues that got up early this morning to join me. And so I do want to acknowledge Council Member Paul Livingston. Thank you for being here. And we saw Mayor Daniel Rickaman with the City of Columbia. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And then Councilman Will Brennan. Thank you as well for joining. And we do have the county administrator, county attorney, and our public works director, and several other, I think, county and city staff here. So thank you all for coming here this morning. We appreciate you for being here. I guess closing remarks are most important thing. I think as we get closer to the election on November 5th, the Transportation Penny website, richlandpenny.com, is a huge resource for you to go and view and find information, but also to share with others that you know have questions. Please share that. When you came in, there was a postcard at the table that has that information for you to take with you. There was also this pamphlet that's there. Take one and take another one for your friend or a coworker. This breaks down the current penny and what is proposed for the 2024 penny in a very simplified fashion for you to get the high-level points. But also want to make sure you know when you go to the ballot on November 5th, or if you go early voting, there are 2 questions on the ballot that are related to the transportation penny. The first question, and all this is on the website as well for you to read it in full, but the first question is related to the number of years and the dollar amount. So 25 years, 4.5 billion. It's yes or no. The second question is related to bonds and the borrowing power to execute the penny projects. That question is saying, do you give county council permission to take up to $950 million out in bonds that will then be paid back by the collection of the penny? And the purpose of that question is when we, if approved, when we start collecting, it takes a while to collect enough pennies to begin a project. And we don't want to have to wait 5 or 6 years to begin bidding out and developing and constructing the infrastructure projects we need. So being able to borrow the money up front allows us to start those projects sooner, and we'll still pay it back when the penny comes in and collect. So if you are in favor of a penny, you would vote yes to both of those questions. But there are 2 questions on the ballot.
Thank you.
Thank you. In closing, the comment was made about how much the current penny provides to the COMET, and it is 61% of our budget. So it is a significant portion of our budget, and for the continuation of that is very important. Our ridership, we take our passengers to local businesses, to hospitals, and employees, to restaurants, hotels. So you might not think about public transportation from that perspective, but it is essential to the community to get a lot of employees to work. And that's our job, that's the COMET's job, that's the staff's passion, is in making sure that we provide the service that we need to the community, to our citizens, in order to get them to work, to get them to their doctor's appointments. And this just doesn't affect our fixed route service. We also have a paratransit service for elderly and handicapped that we provide essential service to as well. And it's extremely important to the community. And again, I'd be more than willing to take some time out of my day to ride the bus with anybody here that would like to ride.
Thank you all, and I want to echo Jessica's thanks to our elected officials who are here. Thank y'all for your public service and what you're doing to keep everything moving. And as John mentioned, Mayor Rickman's in the back. I was at a commercial real estate forecast event yesterday, and he took some time to speak and had some really pertinent comments yesterday. So, Daniel, if you don't mind, I'll put you on the spot today and let the crowd hear kind of your thoughts on the penny.
There we go. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. This is probably one of the most important discussions that we're going to have in our community right now. And to understand, this is the only chance that we have to deal with not only our transit system and our roads. Number one complaint, you heard the numbers earlier, 78% of all the roads across the city and the county are owned by the state. All our gateways, all 9 gateways are owned by the state. Out of the $6 billion that are collected in the gas tax, $5.2 million is going to the highways, $200 million is going to bridges, and $600 million is being split between 46 counties. That is not going to address our issue. We're the capital city. For us to be a world-class city, we need to continue this penny. And I'm the first one to tell you that in 2012, I did not support the penny. I didn't support the track it went down to. The greatest thing that happened was Richland County taking over the penny, and their team that is running it is doing it the way it should be. They're making it efficient, effective, and getting projects done, and they should be applauded for that. We should support this. I want everybody to understand, too, that if this penny fails, we are going to be paying for this out of our general funds, which means we're going to have a tax increase. That means we're not going to have the level of service, and we're still not going to be able to address the road situation that we have in our community. It will take us 20 years through this whole process to address all those roads, but that gives us 20 years of road life. So it is very important as we get out there as a community to invest in this penny. You heard the number 40%. I think it may be a little more. Y'all, 16 million visitors come to our area annually. Every day, this community swells to over 250,000 people utilizing our streets, roads, and infrastructures. Allow them to help us pay for our streets. I have entire neighborhoods and districts that have crumbling roads that are all state roads, and they're not being addressed. We're talking about sidewalks. We're talking about the transit system. Think about the effective and efficiency that they can have by being able to make sure that our employees and our future employees have the ability to get in and out of town. And those folks who can't afford to own a car don't get left stranded. They don't have the ability to get to their doctors. They don't have the ability to get to work on time in an effective and efficient manner. We can do this. You know, this is our opportunity, and I'm a 100% advocate for this, and I've said it publicly. This is our only solution to deal with that. And what you heard earlier about our ability to leverage with the state, we can go to the state with a large sum of money and say, let's partner together to get these roads done. There's no other community that's done that I know of in the state. That's going to put us in a different position to address the situations here in our city. We are the capital city. We are the capital county. We are seeing the most growth of anyone else, and it's going to continue that way. So let's make sure that we do the right thing, and we get our friends, neighbors, and everybody to get out there and support this. Because if we don't, we're going to have a lot of issues to deal with that we're not going to be able to afford. And we need to stay competitive in today's nature. So thank you.
Let's give a hand to our panelists and everybody in attendance. Thank y'all. All right, quickly to wrap up, we've got Nick Clayton from Blue Choice, who's going to talk about partner perks.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well and recovered from the storm. As you said, my name is Nick Clayton. I'm here with Blue Choice Health Plan. I am the new business sales executive for small group and individual markets, so I'm here to help you with any individual plan and any plan with 2 to 50 employees. I actually recently just finished my baseball career at the best university in the state. Go Tigers. So at Blue Choice Health Plan, we provide exceptionally designed health plans for individuals and businesses of any size. We've worked with law firms with over 45 employees whose only preference is to have all of their benefit information handled electronically. We've also worked with small auto body shops owned by families who have 3 employees whose only preference is to have their benefit information handled the paper method or the old-fashioned method, whatever you want to call it. We also work with brokers, general agencies, and clients to help find a plan that works best for you. At Blue Choice Health Plan, we offer top-notch service, a local presence, and stellar health and wellness initiatives to meet your clients' short-term needs and long-term goals. We also have a huge network covering over every hospital in every county of South Carolina. We also offer access to doctors and hospitals nationwide, as we have a vast group of in-network hospitals across the nation. All of our plans include more than 10 additional value-added benefits that members won't find anywhere else. We also offer an all-inclusive copay per in-network office visit that covers all diagnostic and treatment services, including labs and x-rays during that single visit. Save you a lot of money. We're a local company. It's been serving South Carolinians for 40 years, so let us help you. And we have a table in the back that has a bunch of stuff that I worked really hard to get up here, so please come take it home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nick, and thank you to our wonderful panel. We learned some new things. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I know we're at our time, so I'm going to wrap us up quickly here. This whole breakfast session has been recorded. We will be sending it out, and it will be on our website in the next couple days. So please go back and check it out, look at it, watch it, share it with anybody who couldn't make it today. So thank you guys so much. I just want to recognize a few people quickly, and so I would love to start out with our partner of the month. So I have the extreme honor to recognize one of our partners each month that has just gone above and beyond in the community, working with the chamber, just in everything that they do. So this month we are so excited to recognize Carolina Conditions. If you haven't seen their vehicles or their vans or their cars driving around, I don't know where you've been, because they're everywhere. They do a lot in the community, but not just the community. They do a lot with the chamber as well. So I'm going to invite Nick up here. Nick is one of our diplomats, and I know that we like to highlight our diplomats periodically throughout the year as well. And so Nick comes to our ribbon cuttings. He volunteers with the chamber events. He helps sign you in. And so if you have any questions at all about what Carolina Conditions does or anything about the chamber in particular, please reach out to Nick. And then we are excited also next month they're hosting our partner engagement. So we'll have more information about that. So you'll get to spend some more time with them and hear from them. But we just want to say thank you so much to everything that Nick and Carolina Conditions does for our community and the chamber. So. Thank you, thank you. Okay, along those same lines, I want to recognize a couple of our new partners that are in the room. If you see any of them, please shake their hand, give them a warm chamber welcome. We've got quite a few this month, but there's a few in the room. So Ignite Transformational Living, I think I saw you come in. The Nick Columbia Music Festival, Healing Hands and Hearts. There we go in the back. So if you see any of them, please welcome them to the chamber and say hello. So we have quite a few events coming up. So it is not slowing down, which is great. So we're enjoying this nice fall weather. We've got some fall events coming. I know several of you in here were at our gala last week, so we are all still a little recovering from that. But that was a wonderful event. Thank you all for coming. And we do have some things coming up as well. Our next event that we actually have is our Small Business Breakout, which is on October 22nd in this room. So we'll be back here talking about some small business things. We have our next month, our welcome breakfast next month is going to look a little bit different. We will not be in this room, so please don't come here. Meet us over at the Doubletree. So we will be at the Doubletree Hotel welcoming our new General Hood to Fort Jackson and to the Columbia area. So this is an opportunity for our business community to get to shake his hand, hear from him, and just welcome him to our community as one of the most military-friendly communities in the country. So it will be a great one. All of the information is on our website. It will be November 13th, same time, 7:30, just not in this room. We will be at the Doubletree. So any questions about that, please reach out or check our website. We also have a couple things coming up in November. Our Sporting Clay Tournament is November 20th. All of that information is also on our website. And then we have our Military Outreach Group meeting November 19th. And we have some gather and grows as well. So please check our website for all of our information. We have a lot going on. And thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day.